World. I am joined here by Edja. She is probably up in your left-hand corner, and she will be, she is our community operations event queen, although she's not wearing her crown today. It's very disappointing. And she will be running all the technical stuff of this workshop. So if there's any problems, we can say, Edja, please help. And we're also joined by Nikita Khandwala, who I will introduce to you in a second, and I will try and keep it short because I could rave about Nikita quite literally all day long. So how this session is going to work. Firstly, it is part of our summer school series. It's actually only our second session. So if you're here, you're in luck because we have, I think, about 8 more sessions with Canva, Lovable, TightKnit's been, Ultra Speaking, Reddit, and they're all free. So this is just a way to help bring generalists together and help sharpen your skills over summer and also introduce you to a few really cool tools that we use all the time. We are going to get started, but because it's summer school, we do have a couple of rules, just a couple, but they're mostly fun. Number one is to be here. I know how these workshops often work, right? You're here, but you've also got another 6 tabs open, and maybe you're applying, yeah, I'll walk my dog later. Close them off. Be here with us for the next hour. It's going to be really interactive, and Nikita is going to be asking for a volunteer. So I would recommend closing other things off, putting on your do not disturb, and dropping in, being here with us. Number 2, be collaborative. Get friendly in the chat. The chat will be popping. It always is. So feel free to get involved as much as you like, as much as you're comfortable with in the chat. On that note, though, 3, be kind. We are going to be a fairly large group today. So please just standard rules apply. Be respectful, be kind when you're in the chat. By default, everyone is going to be on mute because of the big group. But if you would like to come off mute when we're doing the Q&A, you just raise your hand and Edja will do her technical thing. And 4 is to be brave. I know a lot of people are like, "Ooh, I'd love to be posting on socials, but I'm not sure what to post." These sessions are like a gold mine for posts and insights and a way to connect with people. So while you're listening into Nikita, take some notes, jot some down, and that can literally be your post for the day. I'm also going to try something that we haven't done before at the end, which is I'm going to post on LinkedIn from the GW account. I'm going to link that in here, and then everyone who is on here can go and comment so that you can see all the other attendees. It's just like a way easier way to connect with people and actually stay in touch with people after this call. So without further ado, I would love to pass the mic to our good friend and Notion extraordinaire. Whenever we need a Notion thing, we just call Nikita and we're like, what do we do? Please help. She's so good at it. And I will pass the mic to you, Nikita.
Thank you, Millie. Hello, everyone. Good morning, probably for most of you. Good afternoon if you're in Asia like me. Good evening, potentially, for someone somewhere in the world. I'm so excited to be here. I always love doing GW workshops, and welcome. I think we're about almost 75 people. So I'm going to just quickly introduce myself, and then we will get stuck into it as we don't have that much time today. So, I'm Nikita. The most important thing you should probably know about me is that I am a Notion loyalist. I love this tool, probably a weird amount. And as a portfolio careerist who is a writer, is a freelancer, does random speaking gigs and workshops, and just generally loves sticking my fingers in loads of different pies, Notion has honestly been a lifesaver. By the way, Notion is not paying me to say this. This is my honest truth. And today I want to show you how you can use it to systematize your career. This workshop will primarily be focused on people who do have a portfolio career. So if you are spinning lots of plates, juggling different gigs, then hopefully this should be really helpful. But I'm hoping that some of the stuff that you learn here today will be applicable regardless of what kind of generalist you are and what kind of career you have. So without further ado, I'm going to share my Notion screen. Give me a couple thumbs up if you can see this. Awesome. Okay, so to run through what we're going to cover today, I am going to start off by giving you all a quick introduction to the art of what is possible with Notion. I imagine that if you signed up for this workshop, you've probably used Notion a little bit before, but I want to show you how powerful it can really be and some key principles to keep in mind when building your workspace. Then, and I'm so excited about this part, haven't done it before, so let's see how it goes. I'm going to ask for one volunteer of the 80 odd people in this room who want to build a dashboard with me for their career in real time in Notion. So we're going to go kind of consulting style. I'm going to ask you some questions about your career and we're going to build it together. And I want this to be as interactive as possible. So if other people have ideas or questions, please feel free to pitch in the chat, or as Millie said, unmute yourself and we can all build it together. And then lastly, this is something that people don't really know about, but Notion has been launching some amazing new features over the past few months, including Notion Calendar and Notion Mail, which makes it even easier to link all of the crazy stuff in your life and career in one place. So I'm just going to do a quick run through of how you can connect all these things together to make your life as systematized and streamlined as possible. And then lastly, we're going to go into probably more like 15, 20 minutes now of Q&A. So any questions that you have, feel free to put them in the chat or shout out. I love hearing real people's voices. And we will go from there. Cool. Any questions at this point, feel free to send them to the chat and Millie and Edge will keep an eye on that just because I can't see it right now. But yeah, let's get going. So the art of the possible with Notion. I am first going to show you a little dashboard that I have whipped up for today. And I want to show you this as an idea of the kind of thing that you can create with Notion. So if any of you are portfolio careerists, you will know that you probably have ideas all the time. Sometimes you forget to note them down. You might have a meeting and then forget where the meeting notes are. You might forget actually what is the most high priority thing that I need to do today. And so this dashboard is really a blueprint and a relatively simple one to just solve all of the gnarliest, shout out to Millie for teaching me that word, the gnarliest problems that you might have as a generalist and portfolio careerist. So on the left, this is a quick capture thing. These are just buttons that you can press to add a new project, a new task, or a new note. Today's priorities, this is a really quick, easy way to see what are the number one things that I have to get done today. On the right, you'll see a schedule. So this is a simple calendar view of your top priority tasks for the day. And later I'll show you how you can actually manage this in your Notion calendar. And then at the bottom, we have our most famed databases. So you've got a projects database, a tasks database, and meeting notes. Now, one of the first principles that I want to point out to you today is the importance of databases and connecting everything together. So often when I look at people's Notion workspaces, which again is probably more than is normal, I often see that people will have like loads of different databases, right? Because they think that Notion is made up of databases, which it is, and therefore the more the merrier. This is one case in which actually the more databases, not the merrier. So what we want to do in Notion to make sure that everything is connected is actually to have one or two, max 3 central databases where everything can actually be connected together. So I'm just going to show you a quick example of that. If we go into this projects database, I'm just going to get rid of this quickly. Here are just some random kind of fake, kind of real projects that I put in. So if I look at the portfolio website one, we can open this and see what properties this project has. And you can also see this here in a table view. So don't worry about all of these properties for now. We're not going to get into the nitty gritty at this moment. But I just want to show you how if you scroll to the right, you will see these two columns called meeting notes and task tracker. So meeting notes is connected to the database in the bottom right-hand corner. And even though it looks like a separate database, it's actually what we call a linked relation. And so if I click on this, I can actually choose to directly link one of my meeting notes. You can see that at the bottom called stand up right here So I can now basically build up a collection of all of the meeting notes that are related to this portfolio website project. Same thing with the task tracker. This is a linked database, not a completely separate one. And therefore I can add some tasks to it. So I've already got improve website copy, update help center and FAQ. I can add this update team on progress one. I can take this one away. And that just means that rather than having things in loads of different places, everything is aggregated together. So this is the first golden rule of Notion. Have a maximum of 3 databases from which you do everything. Even this schedule in the top right-hand corner is a version of my task database that is just showing here in a calendar view. Cool. I'm going to pause for a sec and see if there are any database related questions in the chat. Millie, Edge, feel free to shout if you've seen anything that I've forgotten.
Nothing database at the moment.
Okay, cool. Feel free to chuck questions in the chat as we go. Awesome. So next, I want to talk about the second golden rule, which is, and I've mixed them up here, but the second one is always start from the problem, not from the function. I and Millie and Etja know this better than pretty much everyone. Definitely the kind of person who gets way too excited about the functionality of tools and then tries to use like all the different functions of the tool instead of taking a step back and thinking, what am I actually trying to do here? Or what is the problem that I am trying to solve for myself? So when we go on to build the dashboard later in the session, I'm really going to start from the core of the problems that you're trying to solve. I'm going to ask what your key challenges are that you're facing in your portfolio career. And then we're going to build a database that actually solves those challenges. Yes, it might not use all the fun functionalities like buttons and forms and Notion AI, but it will work for you. And that brings me nicely to the third golden rule, which is to build your dashboard like Lego. So if we go back into this portfolio career dashboard, you'll see that everything, and you can't see this visibly, but maybe when I start to point it out, you will. If you click on these 6 dots in the top left corner of any element, as we call it in Notion, you will see that it highlights basically a block. So this might be a database, this might be a title, like here, that's just a title. It might be an image or a GIF. I love GIFs in Notion, clearly. But basically what that means is that everything in Notion is a block. And that means that just like Lego, you can unplug things from each other and then you can put them back together in different ways. And so, for example, this meeting notes database, I'm going to take this and I'm just going to drag it underneath the task tracker one. And then I'm going to move this here so I can have sort of a full width view of it. I can easily move that back by just saying Command Z. And yeah, it works a treat. If I want to expand this and move around my priorities, so actually that is the first thing I see and there's nothing else in my view, I can just move it like that. And again, Command Z to undo that. So as you can see, everything is a block, everything is a Lego block. And that means that even if you don't like the way something looks, once you've built it, you can easily undo it and rebuild it, reconfigure it in a different way. So those are the primary golden rules of Notion for today. Just having a quick look at the chat and
Nikita, would you like to do a couple of questions as we go, or would you rather save them? Yeah, okay. Let's do a couple.
Cool.
Is it okay to have databases in different pages that are linked, or is it better to have them on one page?
You can have databases in different pages that are linked. The most important thing to remember is it's quite helpful to keep, and I think this is related to someone else's question, just to keep a running log of all the databases that you do have. So I would do something as simple as anytime in Notion you want to add a block, you just press the / key. And then I am going to create a page called databases. And then this is literally going to be a list of my databases that I have. So projects, tasks, and meeting notes. And then again, what I'm going to do is to link a database, just so I know where it is, I will type open brackets twice. And then I can, actually, that's wrong. I'm going to do a linked database. So I'm going to do / again, and then linked database. And this is a very magical feature. So if I click link view of database, I can basically connect to any database in my Notion. I have loads just because I've been using Notion for years and it's a bit messy now. Don't tell anyone. But for the purposes of this, I just want to link my task tracker. So there it is. Then I want to link my project. So I'll just search for that. And it's this first one, and so on and so forth. So that just means I have my databases in one page, but that doesn't mean you need to work in this page. I can go back to my dashboard and do whatever I like. I can remove this, but I still know that it exists. So hopefully that answers your question. You can link databases that live in different pages, but I just advise that you have like a contents page somewhere that lists all of your databases.
Super helpful. I'm going to combine two questions because they're two sides of the same coin. So the first kind of bit of it is how can we see how many databases we already have? And the second part of it is my Notion is basically a mess, just pages and pages of notes. Any tips on how to get it, and I love this phrasing, into a database state of mind?
Oh, I love that. I honestly never knew I was a database nerd before I started using Notion, and now I'm like, wow, I get hype. Anyway, so to answer the first question, maybe this is not the answer you're looking for, so apologies in advance. But to my knowledge, there actually isn't a way to see every single, like an easy way, I mean, to see every single database that you have in your Notion workspace. And that's why I would advise keeping a running log as you go so that you always know what's living where. However, if you find that your Notion is a complete mess, and boy, I've been here personally, I've been here with the GW team, we've all been there. The easiest way to do this is honestly to just go in and do a spring clean. So what I would do if you have, let's just do an example here. So let's say I have loads of random pages here, and I'm just going to duplicate this for ease right now. Let's say your pages are listed like this, which is what most people's Notion spaces look like, right? Right now, these are just isolated pages. That means that they don't have a home, which is really sad because, as we said before, every page in your Notion should belong in a database. So what you can do is actually collect all of your pages in one mega page and then just start sorting them depending on what they refer to. So an easy way to do that is let's actually call this something that's not these random letters. Let's say this is a meeting note number 1. And let's say this one is, I don't know, a stand-up dog. Okay, so your notes probably have names, I'm going to assume. So that sorting should be quite easy. So let's just say this is like a project. This is a meeting. This is another project. So I'm just going to sort them really easily like this. Once I've sorted them, what I'm going to do for my spring clean is to now actually start a database. So again, I've just done a / and then database inline. And you have loads of options here. So you can build a database with AI. You can just build an empty one. For the purposes of this, I'm going to build like a document hub because that's really what we want to aggregate. Don't worry about all of this. These are just AI features to help you DIY your Notion better. I'm just going to go ahead with all of this. And then suddenly you've got your first database. I'm going to get rid of these examples. Notion auto-populates them. But what we can do is actually just drag these documents that we have in our Notion base into this database. And voila, you immediately have started transferring all of your crazy docs into one place. Now, what you also want to do as soon as you start giving your docs a home is to actually categorize them. So again, these are just Notion generated categories. If I want to change them, I can just click on the three dots and say anything note. And there we go. And then you have all these other properties here, and you can start adding them as you wish. Again, this is too much to go into for now, but I would really say that the best way to learn about Notion is to just start playing around with it. Again, see it as Lego. Go back to your childhood utopian, hopefully, days of playing with Lego. And just mess around. See what properties you actually need. See which ones are just fun, but actually aren't what you need right now. And then, yeah, basically, I would recommend that's how you should spring clean your Notion.
Doesn't she make it look easy peasy? I love it. It so simplifies it. And this is it. This is what we all need to do. And I love Edge's idea of having a co-working spring clean session. I think it would be amazing what we could get done in 1 hour. Last question for now, Nikita. It's quite a specific one. So I love sticky notes in Apple. Can I pull these into projects, meetings, or tasks?
Ooh, what a great question. To clarify, and whoever asked this question, feel free to come off mute. Are the Apple sticky notes, are they, oh no, that's different from Apple Notes, right? Are sticky notes the post-it notes that you can like have on your desktop?
I think so.
Okay. Um, To be honest, there probably is a way of doing this. I've never done it before because I don't use sticky notes. The manual way of doing this would unfortunately be to like have to copy and paste individually, but I'm almost certain that there is an AI workaround that means that you could automate this. Edge Millie and I were actually just talking about before the session started how Notion has a ton of what do you call them? Like they call them connections with different tools that make it really easy to do this sort of thing. I don't know if there's an Apple Sticky Notes one, but the quick way to find out again is if you / on your Notion workspace, and scroll, I think it's really far down. Yeah, if you scroll basically to the end where it says embeds, you can figure out what you can connect directly to in Notion. So it has everything from Miro to Loom to Slack, blah, blah, blah. And apparently also Claude now. So if you want to figure out if you can connect, you can have a look here. It looks like they have Google Docs, which is new, and they have Word. The easiest way to do this might actually be to export your sticky notes as Markdown and then import them into Notion this way. Sorry, my screen went weird. But yeah, and then you can import via Markdown. So that's probably the quickest shortcut, but have a little exploration.
Live problem solving. We love to see it. I think
With generalists. With
yeah,
generalists.
it's super fun. So thank you for the questions, everyone. Feel free to keep popping them in the chat, and I'm gonna try and like group them to be as efficient as possible. But for now, Nikita,
Awesome.
show is yours.
Cool. So hopefully, and I'm going to tick these off because who doesn't love a checklist? Now that we've covered the golden principles of Notion, I am going to ask for a volunteer. And I would love for this volunteer to be anyone who ideally does have a portfolio career and finds themselves spinning a lot of plates and finds their workspace in chaos. Whether you already use Notion or you use a different tool or more of a notepad and pen kind of person, that's fine. But if you want to volunteer, please, what's the best way to do this, Edja?
We
Put it
have
in the
a
chat.
volunteer.
We already have Perley. Wait, let me figure out. Are you able to unmute Perley?
I am. I am on a boat though, so
Love it.
my Wi-Fi, if it's shit, then just give up on me and go to someone else.
Okay, we're gonna do our best. Let's try it. And to make sure I pronounce your name correctly, is it Perle? Perle?
Pal or Pearl.
Pearl.
I
Okay.
take whatever you want to give me.
Oh, we'll go with that. Amazing. So nice to meet you. So what we're going to do is I have literally a blank Notion page here. And I'm going to ask you some questions so we can start figuring out how to build a real-time Notion dashboard for you. And I will share this with you afterwards so that you can continue building on it. So, Pearl, would you be so kind as to tell us a little bit about your career? And we're going to speed through these questions because we don't have a huge amount of time. So first
Sure.
one is, what are your main income streams or projects right now?
I am freelance. I and also run my own company, so I have kind of income from my own clients. I'm hired by a number of different agencies as well, and yeah, I have kind of income from coaching clients as well. So various different income streams.
Awesome. Very helpful start. So next question, what is one thing that, if organized better, would immediately reduce your portfolio career stress?
Okay, there's a few things that really I struggle with is admin. So keeping track of uh, like the stuff that my bookkeeper needs. I I'm a paper and pen girl, so I tend to like when I'm on meetings, I like scribble out lots of notes and then I rarely transfer them, so they're all over my desk. Sometimes I do it in Notion, sometimes I do it on paper. I basically don't have this like consistent system, and I really generally don't know what I need to do in my day. I'm like,
That,
oh, maybe
that's
I'll
what we're
do this.
okay. So it
I'm
sounds
flying by the seat of my pants, basically.
yeah, we all are. That's a lot. It's all good. But what it sounds like is that your notes are kind of everywhere, both on paper and a few in Notion, and that means that it's
Yep.
quite hard to prioritize and just know what you should be doing on a daily basis. Sound
Yep.
about right?
Yep.
Cool. So I'm just going to add prioritization here, if I can spell it, which hopefully I can. Cool. Next question. What information do you wish you could see at a glance every day or week? And the kind of thing I'm looking for here is, do you want to, is your schedule the most important thing? Are your priorities that day?
I did
Sorry.
priority. Yeah.
Can you still
We
hear me?
good?
Yeah, sorry. I just had a window
Yeah.
flash up. Go ahead.
Yeah. So yeah, I'd like to see what's coming because my workflow is either I'm like really busy with delivering on workshops, or I'm very quiet on delivering and having to like lead in. So what's coming, I want to be able to see what's coming. I want to and I also like to have an idea of how my income's going. So I have quite a few spreadsheets. Um, I'd also really like to be able to see if I'm on top of admin or not.
On top of the admin? Yeah, cool. Fabulous. Wow, I'm getting excited. Okay, last questions. Yes, I'm really sad like that. How do you currently track your work? We've talked about this a little bit. It sounds like a mix of Notion and pen and paper. Is that right? Do you use any other tools currently?
Excel, badly. I basically know how to use the sum tool. That's about it. And then what do I have? It's all over the place.
Okay, that's fine.
Yeah.
All good. Cool. And lastly, in terms of how you like to receive and look at information, are you a more visual thinker, more data-driven? Are you a checklist lover? Somewhere in between?
Somewhere in between.
Cool. Somewhere in between. So a little bit of everything. Okay, great. I'm seeing comments in the chat, which I'm just not going to pay attention to now because I don't it's not relevant.
I've just seen Dave's. Love it.
Okay, we're going to spice things up a little bit. Millie or Edger, can one of you set a timer? I'm going to see what we can create in 10 minutes. So it's currently 4:32 where I am. Millie, I think, is going to set a timer. And then, Pearl, we're going to see how we can systematize your portfolio career in 10 minutes.
Oh my God, I'm sorry.
Yeah, that would have been a good title for this workshop, guys, in retrospect, I think. Anyway, okay, are we ready?
I'm ready.
Nice. Yeah, it actually is. For me, this is exciting as British Bake Off. Okay, so as a quick recap, Pearl is a portfolio careerist through and through. She freelances, she runs her own company, she also does agency work, and she has coaching clients. I'm sure there are also many other things that you're juggling. So one of the most important things that we want to factor into building this is categorization. You want to know what projects belong where and what you need to deliver to who. So I'm just going to call this projects and deliverables for now. Secondly, Pearl's challenges are really around staying on top of admin, keeping notes in a streamlined way, and then using those notes to prioritize your work and how you should be spending your time. In terms of what Pearl would love to see kind of first on her Notion dashboard, it is what's coming up in her calendar, how her income is going, and some kind of checklist of admin would be really helpful. And she'd like to see this in a few different ways. So a bit of it could be visual, but a calendar would also be helpful. Maybe some checklists thrown in there just for the spice, you know. So I'm gonna put all of this down below. And Pearl, as we go about this, stay off mute, give me feedback as we go. Tell me, oh, this is really helpful. Actually, we don't need this, get rid of this, okay? And we'll do it in real time. And if anyone else has questions or suggestions, feel free to put them in the chat. So we are going to start with the number one golden rule, which is the database, right? So in this case, because you have so many different projects, I think the best way to do this is to create an overall projects database and also a client database, and then link the two of those so that you know what your projects are and whom you owe them to, basically. And then we will also have sub-databases of notes, deliverables, tasks, so you can see everything as it's coming on a calendar view. Does that sound about right?
That sounds amazing.
Okay, so as we said, from a shortcuts perspective, you can just click / and I'm going to create a database. Because we don't have much time, I'm just going to use one of the template ones. So we've got projects here, and the Notion template database is honestly great. You really don't need to do much with them. So great, we've got our first database, and we're going to keep this as projects. And then what we're going to do is we are going to create one more within our limits, and we're going to call this a client database. I'm just going to make this empty from scratch. Cool. And let's just have a random client, Pearl. Doesn't need to be a real one. What's your favorite company?
Right now, it's Citizens Advice is my favorite client.
It's what, sorry?
Citizens Advice.
Citizens Advice. Okay, awesome.
Yeah.
And then let's just put some other random ones. Notion, everyone's dream client, obviously. Luma. Okay, cool. And GW, because why not? Because this is a database we're making from scratch, we don't have any properties apart from the name. And as I said, what we want to do is link this to the projects database. So I am going to go to relation, which is how you link databases together, click relation, and then click projects. In general, if it asks you about two-way relations, you want to toggle that to yes. That just means that you'll be able to see your projects in your clients database and your clients in your projects database. So let's just add that. So here we can list all the projects that we're doing for Citizens Advice. Let's just make one up, Pearl. Let's do a website redesign. Cool, and then we can add that. There we go. Notion project is build a Notion dashboard for Notion. That would be wild. Okay, cool. So here we start seeing our projects stacking up. I'm gonna get rid of these for now. Any questions so far, Pearl, or are we good?
No,
so far?
I'm just obsessed. It's like my brain is getting calmer by the minute.
So that's what we've got so far. Let's take a look at what we're trying to do again to remind ourselves. So we've got our two main databases. Let's give this a little icon because that's fun. Actually, let's not do that because for some reason it's not working. Anyway, Okay, so we've got our projects, and what we want to do, as we said, is to categorize these projects. So the way we do that is if we go to all projects, just easy to see as a table view, we want to make sure that we have a property that is category. So I'm just going to add this here. It's going to be multi-select. That just means you can basically have a drop down, and I'm going to drag it over here. So one of our categories, let's say, would be coaching, Pearl, it sounds like. So this would be, well, actually, let's say this would probably be a freelance gig, right? And then I'm going to add a new project that is coaching client 1, and we'll make that coaching, and then website redesign. Let's say that's an agency project. Okay, so here we're starting to build the categories of Pearl's portfolio career, so she can actually see the different projects, the categories that they're in, and also the clients that she's currently doing those projects for. Just going to drag over here for ease. Okay, cool. So we've ticked off this first one. Awesome. Check the time. We've only got a few minutes left, I think. Okay, what do we want to see? I'm just going to skip to this one. So Pearl wants to see her income. She wants to see a checklist of her tasks and what's coming up in her calendar. So what we're going to do is to go with our projects database, we're going to create one more, because remember, we're allowed a max of 3. That is a task tracker. And now what we're going to have is projects, clients, and tasks, really easily accessible. I know it looks a lot right now, but we'll clear it up later. And at the top of this, what I always like to do to keep me motivated is to create like a little hub at the top where it's kind of quick capture / oh, that wasn't words, quick capture. So you can see the most important things. Now, Paula said she wants to see her calendar. So again, we're going to / and we're going to find calendar view as a database. And here you can either choose to create a new database or an existing one. We are going to use an existing one, and we're going to call it, actually, we're going to link it to the tasks one. So this is the right one. Okay, it's going to be empty because right now we don't have any tasks. So, oh, actually, we do. These are ones that Notion imported. For ease, Pearl, I'm just going to use these because we don't have much time. So we would put a due date here of, I don't know why things are in February. Let's put today. And then this one can be tomorrow. And they also have different priorities. Okay, great. So now we have some tasks, and you can see they've appeared automatically in the calendar. They're a bit hard to see. So like, let's make this a bit nicer. Let's show it as a week. Let's remove weekends, and let's wrap page title so we can actually see what we're doing. If you want to change what you can see in any database view, you can click this little button here, the settings, and then you can say what properties you want it to show. So if you want a description of it, if you want to see how much of a priority it is, you can do all of those things. So here we have a little calendar widget for Pearl to see what's coming up in her tasks. Okay, cool. What else did we want to have? We wanted to have a way to see if we're on top of our admin. So I'm going to add a view of our task database here. So again, all I'm going to do is a linked view, tasks, and you'll see here that the default view is like a board. If you want to add, if you want to add a view, all you have to do is click this plus button at the top of the database, and you have all these different options. Pearl, what kind of view would you like? Would you like a table? Would you like a Kanban board? Just a regular list? Take your pick.
Kanban.
A Kanban, cool. Okay, so we can actually stick with this one. And this, no one needs to see their done tasks really. So I'm just going to filter this by status. Status is not done. And then we can hide this. So all you should see. Okay, don't know why that's not working. But when I've done a task, it will basically disappear. So you can see everything here at the top. I think that we've probably almost run out of time. So what I just want to show you quickly is all of these things that we've created. How can we make this look nice, right? And how can we also make it really easy for Pearl to manage what she wants to see? So the 2 things she mentioned she wanted to see, or 3 things, were her income, her admin, and what's coming up. So what I'm going to do is first I'm going to switch this to full width just so we have some more room to play with. And then I'm going to move this version of the task tracker, which is the calendar, up top, but we don't really need to see it all. So I'm going to move this, if it lets me, next to it. And that way we can see what Pearl's admin is on the right-hand side, and also what her calendar looks like over the next few days. She can also change the view of this to monthly if she wants to. The one thing that we haven't created up here is a budget. Again, I don't know how you want to visualize that, Pearl, but Notion, just to show you this, has a bunch of templates that you can use to do this. So you can click here and actually find loads of really helpful stuff, all the way from brainstorms to goals to everything else. Let's see if they have one that is, actually, let's do like an income thing. Okay, they don't have a template. So you can either look at Marketplace, but you'll probably have to buy something from the Notion store, or you can build it with AI, which is what we're going to do now. We're going to let us work its magic. Yeah, AI did enter the chat. I've actually never used this AI template builder, so let's see how it is. Okay, I also think that we have run out of time now, so we're gonna stop after this one. Okay, Paul, what do you think of this? So it's generated us a database that tracks our income source, the amount, the date received, the category, blah, 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 which is all quite a lot. So maybe we get rid of payment method. Notes for now we don't need. Let's just keep it really simple. Maybe it would be good to know if it's recurring, so we can add that. And then I can literally talk to Notion AI to get it to add properties that I want or to remove them. For now, I'm just gonna add this as it is. And let's just say we want a monthly summary. Cool. And there we go. We have our task tracker at the top, both in a calendar view and then as a Kanban board. And then we have an income tracker that shows what we've received this month. When we scroll down, we have these databases that we can make look much nicer afterwards. But for now, this is a really helpful way to make sure that everything is centralized and in one place. So I know this is not a finished product, sorry, but in 10-ish minutes, we've created something that hopefully solves quite a lot of Pearl's problems. The one thing that we didn't get to is the document database. But that would be where Pearl can basically aggregate all of her notes that she has and then link them to projects. And we can actually, I can just show you quickly how you can do that. You can link pages here and also add a property in your pages, in your project, sorry. So all of the pages that are related to a project will be in one place. Okay, I'm going to stop there. I feel like the chat's been going a bit wild. And I haven't looked at it. So if anyone has any questions on that whistle-stop tour, feel free to come off mute, feel free to raise your hands. But just before we do that, Pearl, I would love to come to you for 30 seconds. What do you think? What would you change? What questions do you have?
I'm like a little almost overwhelmed at how quickly you just did that. And then in my brain, I'm going, oh my God, this will take me half a day. Just because my brain doesn't function in the same way. But also, it makes me feel better that there's this idea that this could be the way I could work. So, yeah. Can I hire you, please?
Sure. There is nothing I love more in the world. Okay, there is, but few things I love more in the world than building Notion databases. So I'll share with you this as it is, and then we can chat afterwards. But hopefully, even if this did feel a little bit overwhelming, and I can completely imagine it was if you're a newbie to Notion, because we didn't have much time and we wanted to get to a first draft that was actually functional. I went through this really quickly, so don't worry if you feel overwhelmed. Notion is one of those tools where there are so many things you could do. But as I said at the beginning, we want to focus on problems to solve, not on the pretty functionality. So because we can always add stuff later. So hopefully this has shown you what is possible. and what you can actually do when you get used to the tool in not very much time. But yeah, if you do have any questions at this stage, we have about 12 minutes. So fire away. And I'm going to hand over to Millie to just facilitate this a little bit.
Yes, this felt a little bit like magic. I don't know if anyone else felt like that, but I felt
It's
like I
magic,
was like
guys.
locked in to this like witchy magic, beautiful magic happening. So you are a superstar, Nikita. We do have a couple of questions, and then I'd love for people to come off mute as well, because that's just like fun to get people off. So one question, which you may have already answered, but maybe just to clarify, if I have multiple databases, but I want to migrate the data to a different database, basically to like merge them to have them more streamlined, is there a fast or good way to do this? Or would you recommend the kind of Lego building, as you said earlier?
Yeah, I'm kind of tempted to ask that. I don't know if you feel comfortable with this, but ask the person who asked the question to share screen and just to make sure I understand what you mean, and then we can problem solve in real time.
Ooh.
If you'd be open to that, feel free, person who asked
That
the
might
question.
take a bit of time though. Can
Okay, cool.
can I be the principal, school principal, and say
Yes,
that?
you may. You always are. I don't know why you're asking that. Like this is new for us, but sure. Okay, cool. So in terms of merging databases without knowing the context, there might be a way depending on how your Notion infrastructure is set up. By that, I mean, if you have related properties in the two databases that you're trying to merge, you might be able to merge them into one quite easily. But yeah, depending on the context, you might have to do a bit of like a drag and drop / copy paste job. I am happy to, whoever asked this question, if you want to email me later, I'm happy to help you troubleshoot.
Beautiful. I'm going to go two more questions, and then if you want to come off mute, pop your hand up now to get in line. A quick one. Can you link multiple databases and sub-databases into the same calendar?
Yes, good question. So I might just share my screen again and go back to our blueprint one. So because we didn't have a huge amount of time, I didn't really go into Notion Calendar, but I want to show you some more magic. So I am going to go back to my Notion window and we'll go back to this dashboard. Okay, so when we look at this calendar, you'll see a button in the top right-hand side that says Manage in Calendar. I'm going to click that. You are now going to see my calendar. So there's nothing too confidential there. Anyway, so this is Notion Calendar if you haven't seen it before. And what I want to show you is that this is like the most amazing thing that Notion's ever created. Have I said that before today? Probably. Anyway, on the left-hand side, you can basically see which calendars are linked to this Notion calendar. So I've got this is my personal email address, and this is my other one. And then if I want to add a calendar, I can do that really easily here. But also, if you go down, you'll be able to see Nikita HQ is the name of my personal like Notion
One
work.
sec, Nikita. I think people can't see. Are we meant to be seeing your calendar? We can only see your Notion page. Is that correct?
Oh, no. Thank you for shouting that out. Yes, no, that's not correct. Hopefully you can see my calendar now. Great, sorry about that. So just to go over that one more time, on the left-hand side pane, you can see the calendars that you have linked. So I've got 1 and 2, and you can add a calendar account here. So you can literally have your work account and your personal account all pulling into Notion Calendar to see everything in one space. If you're anything like me, when I have multiple clients as a freelancer / portfolio careerist, merging calendars was actually the bane of my life. I don't know if other people find this as difficult as I do. I don't know why, but so Notion Calendar is such an easy fix for this. And then in the bottom left, you'll see my Notion workspace, sorry. And basically, this is connected to, for the purposes of this demonstration, the task tracker in the Notion page that I sent you, that I showed you. So we can literally look at this and see, okay, all the tasks that I have, again, I don't have many tasks, clearly, but let's just do untitled, I don't know, make a Notion page. Okay, cool. So I can add a due date to this, which is tomorrow, and that is suddenly scheduled to the calendar. And so in yellow, you will see here, these are my tasks that are on my Notion database. So improve website copy, update help center, etc., etc. And I can even move these around in my calendar to say, okay, I'm organizing my day for tomorrow. This is actually going to take me like an hour, and I want to do it on Friday at 5:45 a.m. apparently. So I am going to just drag and drop it there. When I've done the task, I can, I think there is actually a way, yeah, you can change the status here. So currently in progress, and then I'm going to change it to done. And you can even do things like remove it from your calendar when you've done it. So you've got basically a task management tool here that is all in one. And so to actually directly answer the question about databases and calendars, if you click this Add Notion Database button at the bottom of your calendar, you can add any databases that you want, planning, goals, projects, income trackers, so that everything is in this one calendar. And that is the best way to kind of use Notion Calendar effectively, I would say. So hopefully that answers the question and also shows you the magic of Notion Calendar.
Exceptional, exceptional. One last quick question. What if, so when it comes to your databases, what if each company has multiple projects? How might you structure that?
If each company has multiple projects, easy. So we're going to use Pearl's dashboard as an example of this. And let me reshare my screen quickly. Okay, so let's go back to our project database. Here we go. Okay, so you can see that actually we're going to look at the client version of this. So here I've got my clients, Citizens Advice, Notion, Luma, GW, and here I've got the projects. If I want to add multiple projects for one client, all I do is click into the projects and select which project I want to add. So let's say I also need to do a website redesign for Notion and I don't know, another project. I can just add that here, click enter or add new project, and then it will list all the projects I have for that one client. So this is a great way to get an overall view of the different projects you're working on with one client. And then if you want to kind of zoom in further, if we go to our projects database, those should have been added now, you'll see that because we've got a two-way relation, that popped up here. So another project with the client being Notion. And we can, let's say this is a freelance client. If we go into this, we can see, you know, all that's relevant to this project. And we can also, I don't think I did this before, but I'll just add the relation to the task database so that we can start adding tasks. Cool. So now I can track the all the tasks that are related to another project here by doing exactly the same thing. So I don't know, these are the random tasks that I want to add. Cool. Hopefully that helps. Any more for any more? We have 4 minutes.
We have 4 minutes. Does anyone want to come off mute? Feel free to raise your hand.
I can address one question, which was from Dave as well, and now also saying that feels so overwhelming to set this up, and I felt the same when I first started Notion. And he was also asking, like, how do I stick with it? Because we're like using Trello, we're using Apple, we're using like Excel, etc. But like, what's your tip, Nikita, for someone to keep going back to Notion and then keeping a habit of it?
Honestly, it may not seem like it, but I have exactly the same problem. I think someone in the chat said this as well. You've tried Asana, Trello. I love tools, like it's a problem. And so anytime there's a new tool, I'm like, oh, pick me, like I must try it. And then I try it, and 5 minutes later, I'm like, oh, okay, it doesn't have, I don't know, it's too overwhelming, or it doesn't have what I need it to, or there's this one feature that seems small, but is actually really important to me. I say this again, not being paid by Notion. I have never found anything, Dave, I think you just said this in the chat, that literally reads my mind in the way that Notion does in terms of what I need as not just a portfolio careerist, but like as a human with a life in the 21st century. I honestly have everything in Notion. And I was a Google Drive user before Notion even arrived on the scene, and I found it fine. It did the job, but I didn't like how nothing connected together. It was just these random documents in random folders. And so I really, really do, as someone who's tried pretty much all the tools out there, recommend that you give Notion a go, because one, they are really responsive to new features and really fast at building new features. But the chances are Notion has every single feature your heart could desire, particularly now with Notion Calendar and Notion AI and stuff. So I'd really recommend giving it a go. I know it's overwhelming. If you do want help, please do contact me. I'm very happy to help you set up your initial workspace and dashboard so that it doesn't feel so overwhelming. And yeah, let me know how you get on with it.
Thank you so much. What we're going to do from here is this recording will be available. So you can go back and you can watch it like 8 times, Nikita doing the magic things, so that you can sponge it all in. Thank you so much, Nikita. We are going to meet on LinkedIn. I've just dropped a link in the chat. Go and say hi, and then go and connect with other people on here. This is your tribe. These are your people. And if you have any like nerdy questions or things to chat about, we can also talk about it there. So massive round of applause for Nikita. That was brilliant. I look forward to hiring you.
I just shared the LinkedIn link again because someone said maybe the link wasn't working. So maybe
Thank you.
this works now, everyone. So take a look, comment, connect with each other, and come to the upcoming events. We have another Notion session coming up, 5 p.m. UK time. It will be from another amazing GW member, Dave Mentz. He'll be showing us how to build templates and how to use templates.
Hope to see you there. Thank you so much, everyone, for coming and taking the time. And thank you, Nikita. See you on LinkedIn.
Bye, have a great day.
Bye. Keep the room open for 10 more seconds so you can grab the linkies, people.
The linkies.
The linkies.
Oh,